Hello everybody, welcome back to another video on my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Brooke, or Baby Sims on all of my socials, and today we are building a family home in Windenburg for my save file. So a couple things about this build is that yes, I did in fact build this the wrong way. It is supposed to go like vertically instead of horizontally type of thing, and I'm not very bright and I thought the slot was horizontal, not vertical, so I built it this way, and then I came back on and I just switched it, and then that was it. So there'll be a random part in this video where it'll be like this, and then all of a sudden it'll come back and it'll be a totally different way. So that is why. It's because I realized it in the middle of doing my last video's voiceover, and then I was like, oh. So when I finished that voiceover, I went on the game and quickly turned it and then finished the build the next day. So there's like a little bit of a jump there. Where it kind of just jumps to a different side of the lot, but that's fine. It was just me fixing it because yeah, that was very annoying, but I think it worked out in our favor because we got a lot more backyard space in, and the house looks a lot cuter, I find, on vertical lot size. So yeah, and I actually do have a little bit of a story for this build. So as you can see by the title, this is the Applebee's family home. No, not the restaurant, which is hilarious because I don't even know if we have Applebee's in Canada. Now I have to look it up. I don't know. I feel like we do, but maybe we don't. Hold on. Applebee's. Applebee's. Do we have one near me? Applebee's. No, not menu. Applebee's near me. Halifax? No, we don't have one. So, yeah. Also, I just said the state I live, or the state. This is not America. I just said the city I live in, but I think you guys know that by now. I think I've already said that I live in Halifax. I live in Halifax, Nova Scotia, if you are unaware, which is a alright place to live. I wouldn't say it's the best, it's not the worst, but it is definitely not like the greatest place in the world. Anyway, back to what I was talking about. This is the Applebee's family home, not the restaurant, but the family, and I want to tell like the full story of this household because they are actually people in this family that I have known. My Sims have known these Sims since they were born, so they're kind of directly connected to my legacy or my sim save, but I don't play with them and they're not related to my Sims. But anyway, let's get into it. So my Sim, Hudson Woods, if you guys follow me on anything, or if you're even not new here, you definitely know who that is. But Hudson, he has met Khalil, who is Khalil Applebee. He is a man in this house. He's the oldest man in this house. And they met when they were 13 at Copperdale High School on like their first day, because Hudson was actually a part of the basketball team at Copperdale, which is like a club I made up. It's not a real thing. It's a club that he joined, and Khalil was actually on the basketball team with him along with 5 other men or boys, and they all kind of like became a friend group where like they all hung out all the time. So Khalil was one of Hudson's best friends for like years upon years, and now that Hudson is 25, they are still really good friends. And yeah, so that Khalil is one of his best friends, and Khalil's storyline is, so he right now is also 25 years old, and he raises 2 of his cousins, like his 2 younger cousins. And that started because, well, Khalil's parents basically gave him up to his aunt. Like, he had a single mom, and then his single mom realized that she was going through too much. I'm trying to say storyline in like a PG-13 way, but basically my storyline is kind of dark, so I'm sorry. But basically she was going through some basemental type of addictions, so she dropped him off at her sister's place, his aunt's, when he was really young, like I'd say like 4, something like that. And with his 2 cousins, obviously, because his aunt has 2 kids, but she is also a single mom since her husband has left. So yeah, so he lived with his aunt and his 2 younger cousins, which names are Brad and Joaquin. I think their last name is actually Powell, but yeah, so he lives with them. He lived with them forever, and then when he was actually 18 years old, so, you know, 6-7 years ago, his aunt passed away from a illness, and he was kind of left raising his cousins. So his cousins Joaquin and his cousin Brad. So Joaquin is the oldest of the 2 brothers. So as I said, Khalil is 25 while Joaquin is 20, and then Brad is 17. Sorry, I'm trying to like figure it out in my head because I don't think I actually thought about their ages, but I remember thinking it the other day, but I never actually like wrote it down. So I was trying to remember what I was thinking about. So yeah, that is kind of the ages, and they all are very different but very similar. So the two boys that were actual direct children of the aunt who has no name because I don't remember her name, and I'm not going to make one up just for funsies. So they actually have brown hair and they're kind of tan skinned. I don't actually know what their ethnicity would be, but they they have brown hair, brown eyes, both. And then Khalil actually has black hair and green eyes, and he is white. So yeah, he is half white, half Caucasian, half actually indigenous, so that's pretty cool. And and he's been kind of raising them since. And what Khalil does for a living, which is very ironic, so think about the storyline I told you with his mother and how she had basemental type of addictions. So Khalil's career, and has been his career since he was about 17, was selling basemental items. So yeah, he is like my save files basemental guy. So yeah, and he actually has a girlfriend that, okay, so basically since I've been kind of playing with him, like not really but indirectly playing with him, since my sim has been so close with him since they were really young, he's always been around. So like their other friends and stuff, I kind of had storylines built up for them forever, and I've all seen many girlfriends they've all went through and things like that. So when he was 16 and 17, he actually had a thing with, should I repreface this? I probably should. I'm so bad telling stories, by the way. I understand that you're probably really frustrated with me. So Hudson has a sister named Luna, who is 2 years younger than him. So currently she is 23, and she has a friend group herself that consists of her, a girl named Kinsley, a girl named Kira, and a girl named April. Now, Luna is actually lesbian, but the rest of her friends are straight except for April, I guess. April is actually her ex-girlfriend. So yeah, but this person we're gonna be talking about right now is Kira. So Kira is basically the girl version of Khalil. She does not sell basemental items, but she is kind of like tough, she's strong, she wears all black, she's like listens to rap music type of thing. Like she is that girl. Like she kind of reminds me of like Maddie from Euphoria in a way. Like she is like that girl. So she and Khalil, when Khalil was 16 or 17, did I say 16 or 17? I think he said 16. So when Khalil was 16 and Kira was 15, because she's actually a year older than the other girls in that friend group. So 15, 16, they kind of had like a little thing. They had a little thingy thing where they were like woohooing and, you know, and stuff like that. And they would go to like these big parties, because my Sims always throw big parties. Luna and Hudson would, and everybody at the school would come. So they would be kind of like woohooing different places and stuff. And they had like a little thing, and I was like, oh, word, okay. So then they like ended. Like, I remember seeing them one day both, and they were like being mean to each other. I'm like, oh, okay. So the storyline made up is that actually his aunt passed away, and he was like, I have to raise my cousins now. I cannot be in a relationship, but I really like you. And Kira was already in love. Like, she was like, I'm literally in love with you. Why are you dumping me? And he was like, dude, I have to raise like my cousins. Like, I cannot be in a relationship right now. And she understood, but she was obviously very, very heartbroken. And I don't know why we don't even have cars in this game, but I have a very, very storytelling imagination. I imagine that conversation of him breaking up with her in a car during a rainy night. Like, I don't know why. I feel like he like pulled up at our house and she was all excited, like almost like Cassie from Euphoria running into Nate's car in the rain, and was all like, oh my god, where are we going? And because she's probably not expecting him, because he's never done that. Like, he's never just like pulled up at our house. And then he's like, so we're done because like this happened and I have to take care of my cousins and I don't have like the room for this right now. So yeah, that happened. And then I was actually playing with Luna, and it was her birthday. I think it was her 19th birthday party, and she went to the nightclub in Windenburg, actually, surprisingly, with her girl group and some other friends, like my Sim's wife, Hudson's wife, Cora, and everything like that. They all went to the club. They were partying, and Kira was there, and all of a sudden, in walks Khalil, because he's trying to do business at the club. But like, she comes over to him, and she's kind of, you know, a little tipsy, and she's like, oh my god, hey, it's been so long since like I seen you, because obviously he graduated a year before her. So she was like, it's been so long since I seen you, like, how have you been? And they got to talking, and then all of a sudden I look over my Sim and I see them flirting in the corner of the bar, and I'm like, oh word. All right. And then basically, long story short, Khalil and Kira have been together for like years. Like, I think Kira is 24 now, so they've been together since they were 19, so they've been together for 5 years now, if my math is correct. I'm not very good at math on the spot like that, but yeah, so yeah, they've been together for 5 years, and she kind of helps him raise, well, I guess he doesn't really have to raise both of them anymore, because as I said, like, Joaquin is 20, so they kind of, it's kind of like a village of people help raising Brad, who's honestly the good one out of the 3. So yeah, Kira spends a lot of nights here, and you see that when I'm furnishing Khalil's bedroom, actually, because I put some like perfumes and stuff on his bedside table, because in my mind I think Kira like partially lives here. Kira actually lives in a apartment in San Myshuno with Kinsley, another girl from that group I was talking about earlier. They live in an apartment together in San Myshuno, and Luna is actually married with a son, as in like very recently, because she got married. What day is it in my game? It's like the last week of spring. My seasons are set to 28 days, so it's like I think spring 23rd, something like that. So she got married the end of fall in the game, and then they moved like a week before spring started, so like the 25th 26th of winter, and then they adopted their son Sam on the 1st of spring. So like it moved fast. But yeah, she is married now to a girl named Naomi, who they've been together since they were really young. So yeah, super lovely, super cute, and that's a little bit of storyline of people who live here, but I have more. So as I said, how there's 3 boys here that live here together, and what's his name is raising them. Khalil is raising them. I think that there's like 3 very different personalities happening here, and I was literally, and this is so strange to me, I know, like this is the weirdest thing ever, but as I was building this house, I could literally like hear conversations with them as if they were like characters of a book and I was reading a book, because like I know Khalil is a sim very well, because I've obviously had storylines with him, and I've just had him in my game for so long and been closely around him with my sims that I kind of feel like I know his sim. Like I feel like it's the same way as if I played my sims, I kind of know what Khalil's like. So like I don't know, and I know his personality because I created him. Basically, Joaquin and Khalil, I have so much trouble saying their names. Oh my god, like they're like tongue twister. Joaquin Khalil. See what I mean? It's kind of hard, but yeah, I feel like they are kind of like not chill people. Like I feel like they're low-key kind of angry. I know for sure that Khalil is, because he has a hot-headed trait, but like I feel like he's low-key kind of an angry person. Like he does not do gentle parenting with his cousins. He, like, when he was raising them, it was not like, okay, I get you're upset. It was like, boy, if you don't stop crying right now, I swear to god. That was the type of like raising he did, but he raised them well. Okay, he did well. And Joaquin, I feel like kind of took a lot of Khalil's personality on, because he was very impressionable, and he was very like, he looked up to him even when they were younger, so like he kind of acts like him, but he's almost in a way where it looks like he's like trying too hard. Like it's like, you're trying too hard to be me, you're never gonna be me. And then there's Brad, who's like the peacemaker, sweet little one of them all. Like, so basically a conversation I was thinking of would be so funny when I was going to bed last night was basically like trying to imagine, because you know how I'm remaking all the worlds, and I imagined that these guys have lived in this lot for like since they were born, except for Khalil. But yeah, they've lived here for literally forever, and so when I add all these new households in around them of the new houses I'm building, I'm sure that like I feel like Brad would have been like, oh my god, should we go over and say hi and bring cookies? And Khalil and Joaquin were like, no, what's wrong with you? We don't do that. That's not the type of people we are. And then he would be like, but it's nice, and maybe they have kids, and Khalil would be like, yeah, I sell basemental items, I don't think they want me around their kids. So like I can imagine that conversation playing out, and then them low-key arguing about it. And I feel like Khalil is the type where you're arguing with him, he's just walking away. Like for real, like if you try arguing with him, he's not gonna sit there and listen to you yell at him. He's just gonna walk straight away from you while you're talking. Like not even like I'm leaving now, nothing. He's just gonna turn around, turn the other cheek, and keep walking. And then he'll come up with a plan, and then later on that day he'll like barge in your room when you think the argument's done, and he'll be like, and I think and then he'll start beefing with you. But yeah, basically that's the vibe. That is the vibe of this household here. I really loved creating them, and I actually made them over when I was making them, and there is some pictures I think of him on my Twitter, and let me tell y'all, he's so fine. He's so fine. He's so cute. I love Khalil. And Kira is really gorgeous too. So like I feel like they're just a perfect couple. For sure. But yeah, that's a little bit about the people who live here, and I have not talked about the build at all, so I want to talk about it. So there's 3 bedrooms, of course, for each sim, and I'll tell you which one each one is for when I get there. And then there is a giant kitchen, a dining room, a living room. There's only 1 bathroom. It's on the other side of the house, which is kind of sucky, but is what it is. An entryway, and if you haven't noticed by now, the color scheme of this house is brown and blue. So yeah, and right now we're actually working on Khalil's bedroom. So this is our main boy's house here. This is his house. He raises his siblings. This is where he sleeps at night. So this is his bedroom, and he has a little gaming setup, because one thing about the club of the basketball boys that my sim and Khalil were a part of, where they were kind of also video game club. So like every day after school, my sim would go upstairs and they'd play video games together, or at least in my imagination, or sometimes at the actual video game console they do like online gaming with each other. So yeah, so I made sure that he had a pretty solid desktop computer when he was here. Now I try not to give him like the most expensive computer, like even a really super great one, because I don't think that they have a lot of money. Like, they have good money because Khalil does his little thing, but I don't think that they're like super rich. So I did clutter up his like nightstand a bit, because I feel like he'd be kind of messy, but at the same time really clean. Like, I feel like he's like an organized mess, if that makes sense. That's kind of how I am. Like, I feel like his things are everywhere, but it's like everywhere in an organized way, if that makes sense. Then I also feel like his room is always really messy, but yet he goes into his siblings' room and I'm like, clean up your room, what do you think this is? Like, he does not want their room to be messy, but his room is messy. So, and as you can see, I did put perfume on the nightstand table. I believe that is Kira's, and she left it there or something. I was trying to think of what she would like leave in the room that I could put down, and I couldn't think of anything that I could find in like objects wise besides like makeup and things. But then I was thinking, what girl is like leaving their whole makeup bag at their boyfriend's house? Because I never did that. Ever. So yeah, we finished with Khalil's room, and now we are actually moving on to Akeen's room, and he has the second biggest room, while Brad has this tiny bedroom. But that's just the way the wind blew. Alright, sorry to you, Brad, but you're the youngest. And I feel like that's an actual conversation had. I feel like when this house was being built and they were like knowing they were moving, they were like, why do I get the smallest bedroom? Because you're the youngest. Sucks to be you. So my brother has a bigger bedroom. Well, he did. He doesn't live here anymore. But when he did live here, his room was bigger than mine. And I still don't have that room. It's actually now my boyfriend's like gaming room. So but yeah, this is Joaquin's room. All of their bedrooms are kind of the same aesthetic, like same color scheme, except for I went with black and blue for his instead of brown and blue. I just feel like it fit a little more. And then I added a guitar because I think Joaquin would kind of be into that. And I added a lot of mess of boxes of stuff and like posters and hats everywhere and like just random boxes and just little things around, because again, I don't think he'd be very organized. So yeah, he kind of has the messiest room out of the 3, I'd say. Brad's room is relatively clean, so yeah, and he has these little posters I think would be of like rock bands, and I think that Joaquin is probably the most active out of the bunch, so I think that he would always have like these basketball posters and things like that, where maybe he would go on runs every day and things like that. And I also put some different posters up and things like that I felt like were fitting. And yeah, we're working on little Brad's room, and his room is also brown and blue, but I went with more of like a traditional vibe for his rather than like this looks like an all boys house type of vibe. And I also made sure to add some mix match furniture in, because as I said, it's not like they have a ton of money, and I think that they like would not care about that. Like, I don't think they're sitting there, I don't think Khalil himself is sitting there like, oh, we have to make sure your bed matches your dresser, or your dress matches your dresser. I feel like he'd be like, just pick one and go. Like, he would not care. And I made sure to add some more boxes and stuff around his room, because I said it's a bunch of boys in the house, it's bound to be a little bit messy. So yeah, and I added these little like mixed match colors things and posters around. I think that his room is really cute and it's really tiny, but they made sure they all have computers, so that's one thing that's good, I guess. And I added this little barbecue and little thingy out there, and a little outdoor table as well. I meant to put a basketball net out here and I completely forgot, but yeah. Yeah, and I also had this like pool floaty, but then I ended up removing it because I wanted to put lights in and then never put it back in. So yeah, and one thing about Khalil's house, as I should say, by the way, is that after his aunt passed, this is gonna sound really bad, I did not think of it this way until I'm starting to say it now, but after his aunt died, this house became the party house. So like every Friday night when my Sims were in high school and Khalil was in high school, they would have like these big parties, and it was always at someone's house, and that someone's house was always Khalil's. And we had this like, because before this house it was like another small house, but it had a big yard, so we used to just throw all kinds of party stuff in the backyard and have like these grand parties out there. So yeah, this is the party house. I made sure to channel that energy outdoors as well, which is super great, and I had a lot of fun with it. So yeah, and yeah, mostly what I can remember from when my son was in high school was mostly Khalil's house was kind of like the summer party, because I always threw a party at the end of summer to celebrate, like, oh, we're going back to school, one last final hurrah, and it would always be at his house. But anyway, this video is now over, guys, so thank you so much for watching this. If you liked it, leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.